right, here we go again. This is Christy Mattoon from Rewire. I'm super excited to be here with you. This is a new video for Greg Braden's Wisdom Codes book. We're going through this one code at a time. Today we are on code number 4. And we're using heart coherence, right? Which is what's actually prescribed in his book. I teach heart coherence, which is why I love this book. I find it absolutely fascinating. It's the kind of stuff that I do all the time for myself. So I wanted to bring it to you to give you a different dimension of how you can use heart coherence to increase your own consciousness, to increase your own vibration, to increase your own, I don't even know, whatever, your own self-desire, your own, gain your birthright. I don't even know what that means, but I said it. So I actually think it will bring something back to you the more you do this kind of stuff, something huge that you're not expecting. All right. Probably not of this world kind of expecting. All right. So I hope you can hear me. I lost my microphone. I got yelled at in another video somewhere. Somebody was like, you need a microphone. I'm like, you're right. I do. I don't have one right now. So please bear with me. And I apologize. I'll get one soon. This wisdom code is called the Gayatri mantra. I've told you in the other video, this different language. We're talking Sanskrit and all kinds of languages here. So I'm not good at pronouncing some of this stuff. But this particular mantra comes from the Rig Veda. So this is an Indian tradition, the Vedas. And he has on here, it's the Rig Veda, mandala, book number 3, hymn 62, verse 10. These Vedas, guys, are older than the biblical text that we read as our Bible, right? So these predate the biblical text. This wisdom code in English says this: Brahma, the manifestation of spiritual energy, destroyer of sufferings, embodiment of happiness, bright like sun, destroyer of sins, divine intellect who may inspire. And then it says the uses. This mantra, which is known as the Gayatri mantra, addresses personal protection as well as the need to clear personal obstacles. How cool is that? Let's read a little bit more. So this is the first part of this. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to tell you what he says this code is about. And then we're going to get into heart coherence, and we're going to put it into place. So it says, this Vedic prayer of refuge, known as the Gayatri mantra, or the Great Mantra, which is what I will keep calling it, the Great Mantra, is so revered in the Hindu tradition that it's often referred to as the mother of the Vedas. Now listen to me. I also had somebody get on to me that I'm talking about Buddha and Hindu traditions and all these other things. If you're not in tune with this yet, please don't watch these. I'm just going to say it to you. These texts come from all over the world. Our English Bible, our translated Bible, is not the only text, all right? You have to start understanding that. There was more to it that was left out. There were things we weren't told, and I think it's part of how our birthright has been stolen from us or taken. We gave our birthright away because we don't seek these things. I truly believe that. There's more to the story, and this is part of it. All right, so if this doesn't work for you, don't worry about it. Just move on, okay? It's really that easy. So let me continue with this, right? So this is referred to as the mother of the Vedas. The original source of the Great Mantra is the most ancient of the Vedic texts, the Rig Veda, Mandala 3, hymn 62, verse 10. As one of the most widely used Vedic mantras, it is not surprising that the Great Mantra has a long and complex past. Its 3,000 plus year history includes multiple translations that reflect the varied interpretations of the translators throughout time. So every time it's translated, and this happens to our Bible too, every time it's translated, we get a varied interpretation, right? Happens here too. This isn't unusual. The purpose of this discussion, Greg says, I'll begin with a generalized view of the mantra to give a sense of what it is and how it is stated. The following interpretation is from Hindu scholar Swami Vivekananda. I believe I said that right. He was alive from 1863 to 1902. And it's followed by a more in-depth translation of the original Sanskrit words. All right. In the word-by-word translation, we'll discover why the great mantra has been and continues to be a timeless code of refuge and protection in both the Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Because there is no direct, so listen to this part's very important. Because there is no direct correspondence between the words of the Sanskrit and those of the English language. No direct correspondence. This is very important. Any translation of the great mantra is only an approximation of the original language and intent. And that happens with all of these translations. It's not just this one. All right? It happens with all of them. With that in mind, Swami Vivekananda's interpretation of the mantra's general meaning is as follows. So here's the general meaning. We meditate in the glory of that being who has produced this universe. Feel that. Listen again. We meditate on the glory of that being who has produced this universe. He may enlighten our minds. That's it. It's very simple. Let me say it one more time. We meditate in the glory of that being who has produced this universe. May he enlighten our minds. All right, so that's one of the translations. Here's a 20th century translation of the same mantra from a Hindu scholar. I'm not going to even try and say the blessed man's name. It's also accepted by modern yoga and Vedic scholars, okay? This one says, and I want you to really, really pay attention to the words here. O thou existence absolute, creator of the three dimensions, we contemplate upon thy divine light. May he stimulate our intellect and bestow upon us true knowledge. Now, I would pick one, if you're doing this, I would pick one of these that gave you the greatest sense of feeling, the greatest or the highest vibration. So if you're doing these, go back through the video, maybe write them down, and I'll see if I can print them in here. Sometimes I say I'm going to do that kind of stuff and I forget, so I apologize for that. And pick the one that grabs you the most, right? Pick the one that gives you the most feeling. And Greg goes on to say, as different as these general interpretations are, both share a common meaning and intent, illustrating why the great mantra is often used as a source of protection. Both translations of the mantra close with an invitation for divinity and divine knowledge to become a part of your everyday life. Now, if you're sitting around wondering why you never get divine inspiration or nothing divine ever happens to you, you got to start asking yourself, what is it you're asking for? And so this is where we go into thinking and like, what are you thinking about? What are you letting run through your mind? What are you letting happen inside your heart? What are you letting go of? What are you holding on to, right? You have to start asking those questions. Because if you're asking, may he stimulate my intellect and bestow upon me true knowledge, and you're saying that all the time, and that becomes a general feeling inside your body, what do you think is going to happen? You can't be the same person, right? This is where this starts to cause a change. And when we get into heart coherence, you're actually also activating brain coherence. So we're doing double duty here. We get heart coherence and brain coherence, and it stimulates a cascade of amazing chemicals and things to happen inside your physical body. And that translates into the spiritual, right? It's not just one dimension here. We get all kinds of good stuff going on, all right? And I do recommend, if you want to read the whole chapter, please get the book. I am not associated with Greg Braden in any way, shape, or form. He did sing happy birthday to me last year, and I will keep boasting on that because I absolutely loved it. But if you want to read the whole chapter, grab the book and make sure you read through it. I'm going to go really quickly through how this is lined up. So it starts kind of like Psalms did, Psalms 91, with a declaration. The declaration is God's ultimate name. And here it's BHURBHUVASWAHA. And it means these words express the inherent qualities that exist as God. Feel that in your heart space. These words express the inherent qualities that exist as God. So the first word, Bhur, B-H-U-R, is existence. It means existence. The second word illustrates God's consciousness. The second word was B-H-U-V-A-H. It illustrates God's consciousness. And I just tell you, like, feel that. What does that feel like? Can you imagine the illustration of God's consciousness? The next word is the S-W-A-H-A, so Swaha, tells us God is inherent in all things, right? So that's the first part of this thing is in the Sanskrit is that little declaration. The next part is a function statement. And I'm again not going to even try and pronounce this. I slated the first one. But you can look it up in the book if you want to. The meaning of it is within the context of the great mantra. This phrase means that the user is selflessly, let me get that right, selflessly directing praise to God. The word tat, which is the first word of this phrase, means that. And in the great mantra, it indicates that the praises are being directed to God, so to the higher source. The next word is a name for God as the source of all things. And I'm going to say it says Savitur, but I don't know that that's the correct pronunciation, as well as God's blessing for humankind. So that word means the name of God, or it is the name of God as the source of all things, as well as God's blessing for humankind. And the last word means who is eligible and worthy of receiving God's blessing. So it's a function statement stating the name of God, directing praise towards God, and then whoever's receiving, whoever's eligible and worthy is receiving. How cool is that? All right. Function statement number 2. And again, it's 3 words. The 3 words in this statement further describe qualities of God from a functional perspective. The first word describes the light that is God, that is God's love. The second word is derived from the Sanskrit word diva and illustrates the many facets of God's attributes. Now, I talk about the attributes of God a lot. And the attributes of God are the attributes of your spirit. So in an ascension practice with the Ashayan monks, the attributes of God are actually words and phrases you can use that awaken your own spirit. Right? We talk about this idea that we're separated from ourselves, right? We don't know ourselves because we don't know our own spirit. How do you get to know your spirit? You have to say things to it that awaken it, right? You're asleep and you want to wake up. What do you do, right? So that's that. The attributes of God are the attributes of your spirit. Peace, love, joy, happiness, beauty, right? Think of all the wonderful things. So the last statement here is completion, is a completion statement. And the first word is D-H-I-Y-O. It means intellect and is used in the mantra to ask God to direct our abilities and use our intellect. The next word is Y-O, yo, meaning who, and reminds us that our prayer is for God alone. The next word is N-A-H, and it means ours, and signifies that our mantra is for all people in addition to ourselves. So when you do this mantra, it's for everybody, anybody who's willing to receive it, I suppose. The last word I absolutely cannot pronounce completes the mantra and signifies that the entire mantra is a request to God as we seek safety, peace, and happiness. And I really highly recommend you just get this and read through these things. As always, to use the wisdom code, the power of the code comes from within. The repetition matters, right? So doing so in repetition and doing it in the affirmative. I'll say it 3 or 4 times, the version that we're going to use in English. It won't be in the Sanskrit. And then we create heart coherence. Greg calls it in here heart-brain harmony. And the easiest way to do that is to take 3 nice deep breaths. I'm going to walk you through it real quick, and then we're going to throw the mantra in there. So it's big inhales. As you inhale, expand your rib cage, straighten your spine, really allow the oxygen to come into your body. And then as you exhale, you're just allowing it to slowly release out of your system. The longer the exhale, the deeper the oxygen and information gets into the cellular struggle. That's a physiological function of the exhale. As you inhale, you're pulling oxygen and energy in. As you exhale, you're allowing it to move and come out of your body. Let your exhale be a little bit longer than your inhale. We're going to do that one more time. As you inhale, bring all that oxygen and energy into your system. Place your hands over your heart. And I want you just to go into gratitude as you're exhaling. If you need to, think of a sunrise, maybe puppies, children, something that makes you smile and happy. As you inhale and exhale, you're just releasing, allowing the momentum of the oxygen and the energy of your body. And your awareness falls into your heart space. Your hands are over your heart. Your awareness comes into your heart space. And I'm going to read to you the original English translation that he has in here. Brahma, the manifestation of spiritual energy, destroyer of suffering, embodiment of happiness, bright like the sun, destroyer of sins, divine intellect, who may inspire. Listen to the words, feel it inside your heart. So you're putting your awareness inside your heart and then hearing these words, Brahma, the manifestation of spiritual energy, destroyer of sufferings, embodiment of happiness, bright like the sun, destroyer of sins, divine intellect, who may inspire. As you inhale and exhale, let that move through your body. And now I'm going to actually switch to, I want you to stay in your heart, hold this space. I'm going to switch to one of the understandings that one of the Swami gave, his interpretation. As you inhale, I want you to listen to these words. As we meditate on the glory of that being who has produced this universe, may he enlighten our minds. And as you exhale, you're just allowing the energy from that to move through your system. Inhale and exhale, allowing that to move through your system. We meditate on the glory of the being who has produced this universe. May he enlighten our minds. We meditate on the glory of that being who has produced this universe. May he enlighten our minds. And just allow your mind to go, meditating on the being that produced this universe. May he enlighten our minds. And let that create another level of gratitude. Be in awe. Be amazed. Be amazed at what the glory of that being who has produced this universe can do inside of you. It's inside of you. You are the attributes of God. It's not different. It's the same. It's the same energy. Made in his likeness. What does that mean? You were made in the same energy. You are the same energy. I hope this blesses you. I hope it helps you. Please comment below with how you're doing with these thoughts on how I can do them different, maybe do them better. I don't know, whatever you're thinking, let me know, please. I bless you in this, and I will see you again soon.